Millions watched in stunned silence as Laura Lopes lunged forward and snatched the microphone from Queen Camilla's hands on live television. The terror in the Queen Consort's eyes told the whole story. This wasn't planned. What explosive royal secrets was Laura about to expose that made Buckingham Palace cut the broadcast feed within seconds? Palace insiders confirm this wasn't just a family squabble. It was the moment the monarchy's darkest secrets nearly spilled into public view. Royal experts worldwide are still reeling from the incident, calling it unprecedented and the most significant threat to the monarchy in modern times. For the first time, we reveal what actually happened in those chaotic moments, what Laura intended to expose, and the frantic palace cover-up operation that followed. By the end of this exclusive report, you'll discover the bombshell document Laura planned to reference on air, one so damaging that intelligence services were called in within minutes. Laura Lopes has always been the invisible royal, the art curator who deliberately stayed in the shadows while her mother rose from royal mistress to queen consort. Impeccable sources close to the royal household describe Laura as thoughtful, intelligent, and fiercely private. This careful distance from the spotlight made her sudden public rebellion all the more shocking. For years, Laura maintained dignified silence through scandals, criticism, and her mother's controversial ascension to the throne. She built a respectable career in London's art world, married without fanfare, and raised her children well away from the royal circus. Palace insiders reveal Laura had become increasingly troubled by what she witnessed behind palace walls. Her rare appearances at royal functions were marked by visible tension, particularly around King Charles. At last month's garden party, keen observers noted Laura spent less than 2 minutes in conversation with her stepfather, before abruptly excusing herself. Body language experts who reviewed the footage detected extreme discomfort and barely concealed hostility beneath her polite smile. Everything changed the moment she stepped onto that stage. The charity literacy event at Royal Albert Hall was proceeding exactly as planned. Queen Camilla, dressed in royal purple and diamonds once belonging to the Queen Mother, delivered her prepared remarks with practiced ease. Security personnel stood at standard positions, completely unprepared for a threat from within the royal family itself. Television cameras broadcast the benign event to millions across Britain and worldwide via streaming services. Laura entered from stage left, moving with such purpose that staffers assumed she was part of the program. Her determined stride caught security off guard. Who would suspect the Queen's own daughter? In 3 swift steps, she reached the podium. What happened next unfolded in just 7 seconds. Yet royal watchers say those seconds will forever alter the monarchy's future. Laura's hand shot forward, grasping the microphone firmly. Camilla's expression transformed from momentary confusion to abject horror in a heartbeat. Their eyes locked in what royal biographer Malcolm Templeton calls the most charged mother-daughter confrontation in royal history. Laura turned toward the audience, opened her mouth to speak, and the feed cut to black. But you won't believe what slipped through before the blackout. In the 3 seconds before broadcast engineers scrambled to kill the feed, Laura uttered exactly 17 words. Those words, confirmed by 3 separate sources present at the event, sent immediate shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. The archives contain proof of royal involvement in government surveillance programs targeting British citizens, she began. The remainder of her planned statement was cut, but those initial words were enough to trigger the highest level of palace crisis protocols. Remember that terrified look on Camilla's face? Here's why it appeared so quickly. Sources close to the Queen Consort confirm she immediately recognized which documents Laura was referencing. These aren't just embarrassing family records, they're explosive evidence of a decades-long program that, if fully exposed, could fundamentally damage public trust in both the monarchy and government institutions. In a moment, you'll hear exactly what those documents contain and why they've been hidden for generations. The Royal Albert Hall erupted into chaos the instant the broadcast cut. Security personnel swarmed Laura, creating a human shield as they escorted her from the stage. Witnesses describe Queen Camilla collapsing into her chair, visibly shaking, as her private secretary rushed to her side. Within 60 seconds, elite security teams sealed all exits, confiscated phones from attendees, and initiated what one security expert calls textbook information containment protocols. Palace officials moved with Unprecedented speed. Royal Communications staff switched from routine public relations to full crisis management within minutes. Prime Ministerial aides arrived on site within half an hour, suggesting coordination at the highest levels of government. Most telling was the arrival of representatives from Britain's intelligence services, confirmed by multiple attendees who recognized officials not typically present at royal events. Behind the scenes, a sophisticated damage control operation was already underway. Technical teams seized all recording equipment from media organizations. Staff members report being required to sign additional confidentiality agreements with penalties far exceeding standard royal protocols. One media technician described the atmosphere as more like a national security incident than a royal event. While official channels worked to suppress the incident, royal insiders were already leaking details through secure channels. Multiple sources confirm Laura had been systematically collecting evidence for years, gathering documents that contradicted official narratives about the monarchy's role in British political life. Her planned revelation was reportedly timed to coincide with the publication of archived materials scheduled for release next month, materials that will now likely remain sealed. Queen Camilla hasn't been seen in public since the incident. Official statements cite a minor respiratory infection, but palace insiders paint a very different picture. The Queen Consort reportedly hasn't left her private apartments for days, refusing all but essential meetings. King Charles's schedule, meanwhile, has been suspiciously packed with out-of-town engagements, creating physical distance from the unfolding family crisis. The strain within the royal family has never been more severe. Sources with direct access to senior royals describe open conflict between those who want Laura permanently excised from royal life and others advocating for reconciliation. At the center of this storm stands Tom Parker Bowles, Laura's brother, now forced to choose between loyalty to his sister and his increasingly prominent role in royal circles. Tom's position has become particularly precarious. Just hours before Laura's unprecedented action, he appeared on breakfast television promoting his latest cookbook, warmly describing his mother's support for his culinary career. Now, royal watchers report he's been placed in an impossible position, pressured by palace officials to publicly distance himself from his sister, while privately attempting to mediate this explosive family rift. Prince William has reportedly taken a hardline stance, viewing Laura's actions as a direct threat to the institution he will someday lead. Those familiar with senior royal thinking say he's advocating for a complete break, arguing that any compromise would show weakness that could encourage further revelations. William's perspective carries particular weight given his influence over royal communications strategy in recent years. Most intriguing is the response from Prince Harry and Meghan. Sources close to the couple report they've made multiple attempts to contact Laura through secure channels, recognizing parallels to their own experiences challenging royal protocols. Their outreach has reportedly been blocked by palace gatekeepers, determined to prevent any alliance between these royal outsiders. Laura herself has vanished from public view. Her London home stands empty, with neighbors reporting unusual activity in the early morning hours following the incident. Her husband has cancelled all professional engagements, and her children were abruptly withdrawn from their prestigious school. The family's complete disappearance suggests either a carefully planned escape or palace-orchestrated seclusion. The documents Laura attempted to expose reveal a systematic program of surveillance targeting political activists, journalists, and even members of parliament dating back to the 1960s. According to 3 separate sources who have seen these materials, the monarchy didn't just know about these operations, they actively facilitated them, providing cover for intelligence services to monitor British citizens without proper oversight. Most damaging are handwritten notes from senior royals expressing explicit approval for operations targeting civil rights organizations, anti-war protesters, and environmental activists. These operations extended well beyond legal surveillance, allegedly including active disruption of legitimate political organizations through infiltration and deliberate sabotage. The palace's desperation to suppress these revelations explains the unprecedented scale of their response. Intelligence experts consulted for this report confirm that the mechanisms activated following Laura's attempted exposure typically reserve for extreme threats to national security. The involvement of government ministers and intelligence officials in what should be a family matter speaks volumes about what's really at stake. Within hours of the incident, an elaborate digital scrubbing operation was underway. Social media posts mentioning the event disappeared at an alarming rate. Technical experts note patterns consistent with advanced content management interventions typically reserved for national security situations. Mainstream media organizations suddenly developed collective amnesia, replacing initial reports with sanitized references to a brief technical interruption. What makes Laura's action particularly significant is her lifelong reputation for discretion. Unlike other royal rebels, she never sought the spotlight, gave interviews, or publicly criticized the institution. This wasn't an impulsive grab for attention. It was a deliberate choice by someone who had exhausted all internal channels for accountability. Sources close to Laura reveal she spent years attempting to address her concerns through proper royal protocols. She reportedly raised alarms directly with King Charles on at least 4 occasions, prepared detailed briefings for senior advisors, and even sought private counsel from former prime ministers familiar with the relevant historical periods. Every attempt was met with deflection, denial, or warnings about the consequences of pursuing such sensitive matters. The final straw reportedly came when Laura discovered plans to permanently seal specific historical records that would have eventually become public under normal archival rules. This decision, made at the highest levels of palace leadership, convinced her that institutional self-preservation had overtaken any commitment to historical truth. What does this mean for the future of the monarchy? Royal observers suggest this unprecedented breach from within the family's inner circle creates vulnerabilities no external criticism could achieve. When the daughter of the Queen Consort herself loses faith in the institution's integrity, it raises fundamental questions about what other secrets remain hidden behind palace walls. The most immediate concern for royal strategists is what Laura might do next. Despite aggressive containment efforts, she possesses knowledge and potentially documentation that could cause incalculable damage if made public. Her complete disappearance from public view has created a dangerous unknown for an institution that survives by carefully managing its image. Palace officials fear Laura may have created what security professionals call a dead man's switch. Arrangements ensuring sensitive information becomes public automatically if she doesn't regularly prevent its release. This would explain the frantic efforts to locate her and secure any materials in her possession, evidenced by unusual activity reported at her various properties. For Queen Camilla, this represents the greatest personal and professional crisis of her life. Sources describe her as completely shattered by her daughter's actions, torn between maternal instinct and institutional duty. The woman who navigated decades of public criticism to reach the throne now faces a threat from the person she least expected: her own daughter. The recorded words that slipped through before the broadcast blackout represented just the beginning of what Laura planned to reveal. According to sources who have seen her prepared remarks, she intended to name specific royal family members who approved surveillance operations, detail financial transactions used to fund these programs, and expose ongoing efforts to prevent historical accountability. Most explosive was her planned reference to a specific document, a 1977 memorandum bearing royal signatures, authorizing expanded domestic surveillance during a period of labor unrest. This document explicitly acknowledges the program's questionable legality, but dismisses concerns in favor of protecting established order. The palace's desperate efforts to suppress this revelation suggest the memo's authenticity is not in question. If these documents become public, royal experts suggest the constitutional implications would be far-reaching. The monarchy's carefully maintained political neutrality would be exposed as a carefully crafted fiction. Public trust, already fragile, could collapse entirely. For an institution that relies on tradition and reverence, such revelations might prove existentially threatening. The timing of Laura's action has raised additional questions among royal observers. Her move came just weeks before a scheduled state visit by controversial foreign dignitaries, a visit that would have placed her mother front and center in diplomatic ceremonies. Sources familiar with palace planning reveal that Laura had been specifically excluded from all related events despite her previous inclusion in similar functions. This deliberate sidelining reportedly came after she questioned the appropriateness of hosting leaders with questionable human rights records. The decision to grab the microphone during a high-profile charity event rather than a more private occasion suggests Laura specifically wanted maximum public impact. Adding another layer of intrigue, financial analysts have noted unusual movements in accounts connected to royal estates in the days following the incident. Large transfers between charitable foundations and private trusts controlled by senior royals have triggered automated monitoring systems at several major banks. While officially described as routine reallocations, the timing and scale of these movements suggest preparation for potential legal challenges or public relations crises. One financial security expert described the pattern as classic crisis mode wealth protection. Exactly the steps one would expect if the institution anticipated serious reputational damage. As palace officials work frantically to contain this crisis, one question remains unanswered. Where is Laura now? Some believe she's secured international protection, preparing to tell her story beyond the reach of British authorities. Others suggest she's negotiating terms, using the threat of disclosure to force meaningful reforms within the institution. Most concerning for the palace is the possibility that this was never about public exposure, but instead the first move in a longer game of internal accountability. What's certain is that the monarchy has entered uncharted waters. The careful image management that defined the institution for generations has been fundamentally undermined by someone with intimate knowledge of its inner workings. Laura's 17 words, broadcast before the feed was cut, opened a door that may prove impossible to close. If this is only the beginning, imagine what else the royals have tried to bury. The daughter who once stood silently in the background has forced the world to question every carefully crafted narrative about the House of Windsor.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
The courtroom is silent. Everyone is watching, waiting. Then, something shocking happens. Queen Camilla's face turns pale. Her hands shake. Before anyone can react, she falls to the floor. Gasps fill the room. People jump up from their seats. Judges, lawyers, security. Everyone is in shock. Just moments ago, she had stood there, waiting to hear her punishment. But as soon as the judge spoke, everything changed. The words hit her like a heavy weight. Her eyes widened. Her body swayed. And then, she collapsed. Guards rush to her side. Some people whisper, others just stare. What was said in that courtroom? What kind of sentence was so shocking that it made the Queen fall? The truth behind this moment is something no one saw coming. How did Queen Camilla end up in court? The story of how Queen Camilla ended up in court is truly shocking. It left the whole nation stunned. For years there had been whispers, small rumors in the air about royal money being spent where it shouldn't. But no one ever expected it to blow up like this. It all started with leaked documents. These papers didn't just come out of nowhere. They were leaked by someone who used to work inside the palace. The documents showed that millions of pounds from the royal funds were being used for personal luxuries. Not just normal shopping or gifts, but private jets, secret holidays, and even hush money to cover up past royal scandals. One of the biggest shocks was that the money trail led straight to Queen Camilla. People had always joked about her love for the finer things, but now there was proof. Some claimed she knew about it, others said she didn't. But one thing was clear. This scandal was too big to hide. The public was furious. The cost of living was already hitting everyone hard. Families were struggling to buy groceries, pay bills, and survive. And here was the Queen Consort, using public funds like her own piggy bank. The anger grew every day. Protesters stood outside Buckingham Palace with signs that read, "Not with our money." The media had a field day. Every news channel, every newspaper, every social media platform was full of updates about Camilla's scandal. Every hour brought a new leak or a shocking twist. People couldn't stop watching. The British people felt betrayed, and the pressure on the royal family was at an all-time high. What made things worse was the fact that royals rarely face legal action. The last time the public saw a royal facing legal trouble was when Prince Andrew got caught up in a serious scandal. But even then, the family managed to protect him. This time, however, it was different. The evidence was too strong, and the people were too angry. There was no way out. The case had to go to court. The courtroom drama. The day of the trial felt like a movie. People gathered outside the court from early morning, holding signs and chanting. Reporters from all over the world were there, trying to get a glimpse of the Queen as she walked in. Everyone wanted to see her face. Would she look scared? Would she even show up? As the clock hit 9 a.m., the doors of the courtroom opened. Cameras flashed like crazy, and there she was, Queen Camilla. She wore a black dress and dark sunglasses. Her face was pale, and her lips tight. She didn't smile. She didn't wave. She just walked straight in, ignoring the crowd. But one thing was clear. King Charles was not with her. People noticed. It spoke louder than words. The air inside the courtroom was heavy. You could feel the tension. The prosecution was ready. They laid out every piece of evidence they had. Photos, receipts, bank records, all showing how money meant for charity and public projects had been used for Camilla's personal pleasures. Private island holidays, designer clothes, secret deals, everything was out in the open now. And then came the biggest twist. Statements from palace staff. People who had worked for the Queen stood in front of everyone and spoke. They talked about how they were asked to cover things up. They talked about the threats they received when they refused. One former staff member, with tears in her eyes, said, "We were told to stay silent or lose our jobs. We were scared." Camilla's defense team tried their best. They painted her as a woman who was just a victim of palace politics. They argued that she didn't know where the money was coming from. They said she simply trusted the wrong people. Her lawyer even said, Her Majesty only did what she thought was best for the crown. She never meant to harm anyone. But the damage was done. The court had heard too much. The people had seen too much. Deep down, even Camilla knew. This was not going to end well. The verdict and sentencing. After days of arguments, witness statements, and countless evidence being shown, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The courtroom went silent as the judge prepared to deliver the verdict. Cameras zoomed in. Reporters held their breath. Even outside the court, people stood frozen, waiting. The judge began by recapping the case. He spoke about the years of misuse of funds, the lies, and the cover-ups. His voice was cold, firm, and full of disappointment. Then came the words that shook the entire nation. Her Majesty Queen Camilla is found guilty of the charges presented. Gasps echoed across the courtroom. Some cried, others clapped. And then, the sentence was announced. Queen Camilla was fined millions of pounds. But that wasn't all. She was sentenced to 2 years of house arrest inside a royal estate. She was also stripped of several royal titles. From that day forward, she would no longer be known as Her Majesty in any official capacity. The camera zoomed in on Camilla's face. Her eyes filled with tears. She looked lost, broken, and humiliated. And then, right there in front of everyone, Camilla collapsed. Her body went limp as she fainted. Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters shouted. Medical staff rushed in, trying to revive her. Outside, the scene was wild. Protesters cheered. They screamed, "Justice! Finally justice!" But not everyone was happy. Loyal royal supporters stood in tears, clutching pictures of Camilla and the king. It was a moment no one would ever forget. International media jumped on the story. Headlines all over the world screamed, "Queen collapses in court after sentence." The royal family's darkest day was now playing live on every TV screen across the globe. Royal family's response. As news of Camilla's collapse spread, all eyes turned to Buckingham Palace. Everyone wanted to know, how was King Charles reacting? Hours later, a royal spokesperson read out a statement from the king. His words were full of sadness. "My wife is a victim of circumstance. She has been treated unfairly. We will stand by her." But behind the scenes, rumors told a different story. Insiders claimed King Charles was furious. Not just angry, but embarrassed that the woman he loved had dragged the monarchy through the mud. Things got worse when Prince William and Prince Harry reacted. William stayed silent, avoiding reporters, but sources close to him said he was heartbroken and disappointed. Harry, on the other hand, couldn't resist. Meghan posted a cryptic message on Instagram that read, "Karma always knows where to find you." Fans went wild. Was it aimed at Camilla? Many believed it was. Inside the palace, chaos broke out. Senior royal advisors held emergency meetings. Damage control plans were made. The royal family knew they were standing on thin ice. One wrong move, and the monarchy itself could fall. In another statement, the palace promised full cooperation with the law. But the truth was, they were scared. Scared of what this meant for the future. Impact on the monarchy. The impact of the scandal was bigger than anyone could have imagined. Overnight, public support for the royal family dropped. Polls showed shocking results. More than half the country now wanted the monarchy abolished. People were tired. Tired of scandals, tired of secrets, tired of paying for royal luxuries while they struggled to live. Talks began in Parliament about cutting royal funding. Why should taxpayers' money go to a family that misused it? The anger was real, and it was growing every day. The scandal didn't just stop in the UK. Commonwealth countries like Australia and Canada started asking tough questions. Was it time to break ties with the British monarchy? Could they really stand by a royal family involved in such corruption? For Camilla, the future looked bleak. People wondered, would she ever be seen in public again? Could she survive this? Rumors spread that she might lose her queen title forever. Some even said the king was considering exile, sending Camilla away to a private estate, far from the public eye. The fairy tale was over. What was left was a royal family in ruins. The aftermath, and what's next. In the days that followed, updates about Camilla's health started to come out. She was recovering at a private estate, far from the cameras. Some sources claimed she was heartbroken. Others said she barely spoke. The once powerful queen consort was now a prisoner in her own palace. Whispers of divorce started floating around. People wondered if King Charles could really stay married to someone who brought so much shame to the crown. But the palace stayed silent, at least for now. Camilla's legal team hinted at a possible appeal. They were still fighting, still hoping to clear her name. But deep down, everyone knew. It was over. The bigger picture, however, was scarier. What did this mean for royal accountability? Would future royals also be dragged to court if they messed up? Was this the beginning of the end for the British monarchy? People around the world were watching, waiting, wondering what would happen next. The courtroom may have gone silent, but the questions still remain. What happens next? Will Queen Camilla recover from this shocking moment? And most importantly, what does this sentence mean for the future? One thing is certain, this story is far from over. Make sure to stay updated because there's more to uncover. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next big update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
In a development that has sent shockwaves through royal circles, Laura Lopes, daughter of Queen Camilla, has reportedly severed all contact with the royal family, following the accidental discovery of DNA results that have upended everything she thought she knew about her identity. Sources close to the family reveal that Laura, who has maintained a deliberately low profile despite her mother's rise to royal prominence, has not communicated with Camilla since the test results arrived in a plain manila envelope at her Wiltshire home last month. What these results revealed about her true paternity has apparently devastated the 46-year-old art curator and left the royal family scrambling to contain what insiders describe as potentially the most damaging revelation of the modern royal era. Why would DNA results drive Laura to such a drastic decision after decades of family loyalty? And why is Buckingham Palace treating this private family matter as a threat to the monarchy itself? Stay tuned, because this genetic bombshell changes everything. The accidental discovery. When Laura Lopes participated in what she believed was a routine medical screening earlier this year, she had no reason to suspect it would upend her entire understanding of her family history. According to sources familiar with the situation, Laura had undergone comprehensive genetic testing as part of a private healthcare program, a precautionary measure recommended by her physician following some concerning symptoms that ultimately proved benign. It was meant to be nothing more than thorough due diligence, revealed a source connected to the healthcare facility. The genetic screening was primarily focused on identifying potential hereditary health concerns, particularly certain cancers that had appeared in what she believed was her family medical history. The standard procedure should have ended with a routine consultation about the health implications of her genetic profile. Instead, Laura reportedly received something entirely unexpected in addition to her medical results: a separate analysis flagging significant genetic inconsistencies that could not be reconciled with her presumed parentage. The report essentially indicated that Andrew Parker Bowles could not possibly be her biological father, our source explained. The genetic markers showed conclusively that she shares no paternal DNA with her brother Tom, despite them supposedly having the same parents. What made this discovery particularly shocking was the clinical, impersonal way it was delivered. According to those familiar with the situation, the genetic inconsistency was flagged as a potential sample contamination issue, with the report suggesting Laura might want to provide new samples to resolve the apparent error. There was no recognition that this technical finding represented a life-altering revelation about her personal identity. "She was devastated," said someone close to Laura's inner circle. "Imagine discovering something this fundamental about yourself through a clinical report that treated it as nothing more than a technical anomaly. It was the coldest, most impersonal way possible to have your entire identity called into question." After the initial shock, Laura reportedly sought confirmation through additional testing, using a different facility and ensuring the strictest confidentiality. The secondary results only confirmed the original finding. Her DNA showed no genetic relationship to Andrew Parker Bowles, the man she had called father her entire life. Most disturbingly, this discovery led her to examine something she had never questioned: the timeline of her mother's relationships before her birth. What she found reportedly left her reeling. Laura had never paid much attention to the complicated chronology of her mother's life before her birth, our source continued. But once she began examining the timeline with this new information in mind, certain overlaps became impossible to ignore. The most significant revelation came when Laura allegedly discovered that her birth in January 1978 placed her conception in spring 1977, a period when Camilla's relationship with the then Prince Charles had already begun, despite both being married to others at the time. The timing aligned perfectly with what royal biographers have identified as the initial phase of Charles and Camilla's relationship, noted a royal historian consulted on the matter. While their affair has been acknowledged to have begun during this period, the possibility of a child resulting from it has never been publicly suggested, let alone confirmed. When Laura confronted her mother with the test results and the timeline she had assembled, the encounter reportedly ended in a heated exchange at Camilla's private residence, with security staff noting Laura's tearful departure and Camilla's subsequent cancellation of all appointments for the next 3 days, citing an unspecified personal matter. Since that confrontation, Laura has allegedly refused all contact with both her mother and the royal household, returning correspondence unopened and declining calls from even her closest royal connections. The palace panic. The revelation of Laura's genetic discovery has reportedly triggered unprecedented concern within the highest levels of the royal establishment. According to palace insiders, what might normally be treated as a private family matter has been designated a potential constitutional crisis, with special advisors brought in to assess implications that extend far beyond personal relationships. "This isn't being handled as a family rift," revealed a source with direct knowledge of palace operations. "This is being treated as a Category 1 situation, the designation used for events that could fundamentally alter public perception of the monarchy or raise questions about succession." The most immediate concern appears to center on the timing of King Charles's relationship with Camilla relative to his marriage to Princess Diana. While their affair during his marriage has long been acknowledged, the official narrative has always maintained that their relationship was discontinued during certain periods, including the early years of his marriage. "The established timeline has been carefully crafted over decades," explained a former royal communications director. "If evidence emerged suggesting the relationship with Camilla not only continued during the early period of his marriage to Diana, but actually produced a child, it would undermine decades of careful reputation management." Within days of Laura's confrontation with her mother, unusual security protocols were reportedly implemented around all medical facilities she had visited. Sources familiar with royal contingency planning noted the activation of specific media monitoring systems designed to identify early signs of sensitive information entering public circulation. Most tellingly, legal representatives connected to the royal household allegedly approached the private healthcare facility that conducted the initial genetic testing, citing patient confidentiality laws and requesting confirmation that all copies of Laura's genetic information had been secured according to standard privacy protocols. This wasn't about suppressing information, insisted our source close to these discussions. This was about ensuring that private medical data wasn't inappropriately accessed or shared. But the urgency and seniority of the individuals involved in these inquiries spoke volumes about the level of concern. Palace officials have reportedly prepared multiple contingency statements addressing different scenarios, ranging from flat denial to carefully worded acknowledgments that neither confirm nor deny the central allegation. Crisis management teams normally reserved for major royal scandals have been placed on standby, with communication strategies developed for various potential disclosure scenarios. There's particular concern about how this information might be weaponized if it became public, noted our palace source. This isn't just about a private family revelation. It potentially connects to narratives about deception, infidelity, and questions about institutional integrity that have surrounded the Charles-Camilla-Diana triangle for decades. Most significantly, King Charles has allegedly been directly involved in these preparations, something unusual for contingency planning, which is typically handled by staff with the monarch briefed only when necessary. According to those familiar with the situation, he has taken a personal interest in the communication strategies being developed, particularly regarding how potential revelations might affect public perceptions of Camilla. His primary concern appears to be protecting her from the inevitable media onslaught if this becomes public, our source explained. He's painfully aware that she would bear the brunt of public criticism, regardless of their shared responsibility. The family fractures. Beyond the institutional concerns, Laura's discovery has reportedly created profound rifts within her immediate family. According to those close to the situation, her relationship with her brother Tom Parker Bowles has become particularly strained as he has attempted to mediate between his sister and mother without taking sides. Tom is in an impossible position, revealed a source close to the family. He loves his sister deeply and understands her sense of betrayal, but he's also protective of their mother and concerned about the broader implications for the royal family, which has become an integral part of his life and career. The most painful aspect for Laura, according to friends, has been reconciling this revelation with her relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles, the man she had always believed was her father. Sources indicate that she has not yet disclosed her discovery to him, creating a painful dilemma, as she grapples with whether revealing the truth would be cruel or necessary at this stage of his life. Andrew has been a devoted father to her, said someone familiar with their relationship. The question she's wrestling with is whether the biological truth matters more than the lifetime of love and support he's given her. There's no easy answer. For Queen Camilla, the situation reportedly represents her greatest personal crisis since joining the royal family. Those close to her describe a woman torn between institutional loyalty and maternal devotion, desperate to reconnect with her daughter, but constrained by the broader implications of the situation. Camilla is devastated, revealed a longtime friend. Whatever the circumstances of Laura's birth, there's never been any question about the depth of love between them. The idea that this revelation could permanently damage that relationship is causing her immense pain. Most concerning for family unity has been King Charles's reaction to the situation. According to palace sources, he has been uncharacteristically withdrawn since learning of Laura's discovery, canceling several private engagements and spending increased time at his Highgrove retreat. Behavior that staff recognize as indicators of significant distress. The king feels tremendous guilt, explained our source close to royal circles. Not just about the past circumstances, but about how this revelation is affecting people he cares about deeply in the present. He's watching a family he loves being torn apart by a situation he helped create nearly half a century ago. The most visible sign of these tensions came at a recent family gathering, where Laura's absence was conspicuous. According to attendees, her name was notably not mentioned throughout the event, creating an uncomfortable atmosphere that even experienced royal staff found difficult to navigate. It was the elephant in the room that no one dared acknowledge, noted one attendee. When her brother was asked about her absence, he simply said she was unavailable and quickly changed the subject.
I love my father, I love my brother, I love my family. I will always do. Nothing of what I've done in this book or otherwise has ever been any intention to harm them.
For years, Prince Harry has been a part of some of the biggest royal stories. But there's one part of his life that he kept hidden away, until now. Prince Harry has just shared why he had to keep his sister a secret, and the reason behind it is shocking. What's even more surprising is how this secret was kept for so long, despite all the cameras and attention on his family. People always wondered about Harry's relationship with his family, but no one could have guessed this hidden truth. It's a story that reveals just how complicated life can be inside the royal world, and how sometimes, even the smallest things can become huge secrets. What happened that made Prince Harry feel like he had no choice but to keep his sister out of the public eye? What does this mean for everything we thought we knew about him and the royal family? The answers are finally here, and they could change everything. The secret sister Prince Harry has always been a figure who has caught the attention of the world. From his royal duties to his departure from the royal family, every part of his life seems to make headlines. But recently, a surprising claim has come to light: the revelation of a secret sister. This is not just another royal gossip or media rumor. This is something that has raised eyebrows, with some even questioning why Prince Harry kept this part of his life hidden for so long. The claim about Prince Harry's secret sister became public knowledge in the weeks leading up to the release of Harry's memoir, Spare. As the memoir gave readers an inside look into his life, many were shocked to hear about this hidden family member. The details of her identity were still unclear for some time, with some speculating about who she might be. Was she a child from a past relationship? Was she someone born into the royal family, but kept out of the public eye? The mystery surrounding this sister stirred up media frenzy, leaving many wondering what the real story was. Different media outlets quickly jumped on the story, each offering their take. Some reported that Prince Harry had a sister, born from a different relationship, while others hinted at the possibility of an adopted sibling. However, the name and full background of this sister have yet to be fully revealed. While some royal insiders claim to know more, it remains largely speculative. What we do know is that Harry's sister is a part of his life that he's kept hidden from the public for reasons that seem to go beyond mere privacy. Family dynamics. Where does she fit in the royal family? Now you might wonder, why keep a sister a secret? How does this secret sibling fit into the royal family's complicated structure? In the grand scheme of things, the British royal family is one of the most famous families in the world. Every member of the royal family plays a role, whether it's attending official events, charity work, or even handling their public image. A secret sibling could cause an unexpected ripple in the carefully orchestrated royal family dynamics. Imagine being part of a family where every little detail about your life is scrutinized. Now add to that a sibling who has never been publicly acknowledged. How would this unknown family member fit into the picture? Would they have their own role, or would they complicate things even further? These are the kinds of questions that might have weighed on Harry's mind as he made the decision to keep his sister a secret. One possibility could be that she simply didn't fit into the image the royal family wanted to project. Royals are often expected to have picture-perfect lives, with no room for messy or complicated situations. If this secret sister's background didn't match the royal family's carefully crafted narrative, it could have been easier for Harry to keep her hidden. Why keep her a secret? Royal family secrets and scandals. For centuries, the royal family has been known for keeping secrets. Some of these secrets are small, while others are more explosive. Take Princess Margaret's love life, for example. For years, it was kept a secret that she had a romantic relationship with a man named Peter Townsend, a man who was not acceptable in royal circles due to his divorce. This relationship was kept under wraps, and it caused quite a stir when it was eventually revealed to the public. Another example is King Edward VIII, who abdicated the throne to marry Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee. This decision shocked the royal family and the public and led to a significant shift in royal history. These examples show that the royal family has a long history of keeping scandals and personal matters hidden from the world. Prince Harry is no stranger to this either. As someone who has dealt with intense media scrutiny throughout his life, it's possible that he felt it was better to keep his sister hidden from the public. The last thing Harry would want is to add another layer of drama to an already complex family situation. After all, his life has already been filled with media chaos and family tension, so it makes sense that he would want to protect his sister from the same spotlight. Personal reasons for secrecy. But there's more to it than just controlling the media narrative. Prince Harry's own personal motivations could have played a huge role in his decision to keep his sister a secret. Harry has always had a complicated relationship with the royal family, and revealing a secret sibling could have caused even more tension. After all, his relationship with other family members, especially his brother Prince William, has been strained at times. Adding another secret to the mix might have made things more difficult. On top of that, Harry has always had a deep sense of responsibility towards his family. He's been very open about his struggles with mental health, particularly after the death of his mother, Princess Diana. Having a hidden sibling could have added another layer of emotional complexity to an already difficult situation. Perhaps Harry didn't want to burden himself, or his sister, with the emotional weight of revealing a family secret that might not have been well received by the public. Harry's struggles with mental health. It's well known that Prince Harry has struggled with mental health issues over the years. His grief over losing his mother at such a young age has been well documented. It's also clear that the pressure of living in the public eye, especially as a royal, has taken its toll on him. The media has often been unkind, and it's no secret that Harry has had a rocky relationship with the press. The idea of keeping a secret sibling hidden from the world could have been part of his way of coping with this intense pressure. Harry has spoken openly about how his family's expectations and public scrutiny have affected his mental health. In his memoir, Spare, he discusses how he struggled with feelings of inadequacy and how he used various coping mechanisms to deal with the stress. Having a secret sibling, who could potentially be the subject of more media attacks, would only have added to this emotional burden. Impact on family relationships. Keeping a secret like this would have undoubtedly affected Harry's relationships within the royal family. His brother, Prince William, has often been seen as the more traditional, reserved member of the royal family, while Harry has taken a more unconventional route. If the secret sister were to have been revealed, it might have complicated things further, adding yet another layer of complexity to the royal family's already fraught relationships. Harry's relationship with his father, King Charles III, could have also been impacted. The royal family as a whole tends to maintain a strict public image. Any deviation from that image can lead to conflict or tension. Keeping a secret sibling could have been a way for Harry to protect his family, but it could have also made things more difficult on a personal level. Whether or not his family knew about the sister, revealing her to the world would have been a significant move. It's also worth considering how Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle fits into this story. Meghan has been vocal about her desire for privacy and the challenges of living under the public microscope. It's possible that Harry's decision to keep his sister hidden was part of their shared desire for privacy and a life away from the media circus. After all, revealing yet another family secret would only bring more attention to their already high-profile lives. Will the sister ever be revealed? So, what happens next? Will Prince Harry ever fully reveal the truth about his secret sister? Or will she remain a shadow in his life? The mystery surrounding this sibling has sparked countless theories, but the truth may never come to light. Prince Harry has always been careful about what he shares with the public, and it's likely that he will continue to protect his family's privacy in the future. If the sister were to be revealed, it would likely come with significant consequences, both personally and professionally. The media would undoubtedly make her the center of attention, and she could face intense scrutiny. Whether or not Harry chooses to reveal her identity may depend on how much he feels he can protect her from the media's harsh spotlight. Harry's path forward. Looking ahead, Harry seems to be focused on his future. He's dedicated himself to charity work, mental health advocacy, and building a new life outside the royal family. The revelation of a secret sister, while significant, may not be a major part of his future. It's possible that he will continue to keep his family's secrets private as he moves forward with his own path. As Harry continues to step further away from the royal spotlight, the public's perception of him will evolve. Whether or not his secret sister is ever revealed, the growing distance between Harry and the royal family will continue to. shape his narrative. It's clear that Harry is focused on building a life that aligns with his values, and whether or not his sister plays a role in that future remains to be seen. The mystery of Prince Harry's secret sister may remain just that, a mystery. But whatever the truth is, it's likely that Harry will continue to prioritize his family's well-being and privacy over everything else. The truth behind Prince Harry's secret is out, and it's clear that life in the royal family is even more complicated than we ever imagined. But what does this revelation mean for the future of the monarchy? The story doesn't end here. There's still so much to uncover. If you want to stay up to date with more shocking royal revelations, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single update. Thanks for watching.